If you're over 30, you're already aging. The worst part is that the culprit isn't time, but something your own body is producing right now: cortisol. This stress hormone is draining your energy, destroying your cells, and making you look exhausted. But what if I told you there's an ancient knowledge, kept secret for millennia and guarded by a few Japanese masters, that reveals exactly how to turn off this poison and reverse aging? I'm not talking about creams or pills. I'm talking about 6 movements, revealed by the Egyptian god Thoth, that are the key to disarming your body's self-destruction mode. In the next few minutes, you'll discover the first of these movements, a secret that transforms your body into a living archive of youth. But if you leave now, you'll never know why, even with exercise, your body remains stiff and weak. Stay until the end, because Key 5 reveals the most terrifying healing power. Comment below, "I want Thoth's secret so we can begin." Still, water reflects the universe without distortion. A tranquil mind is the mirror of the cosmos. Everything you've learned about aging in schools or doctors' offices is merely the surface of a much deeper and more disturbing reality. There is knowledge that has been deliberately forgotten by our modern civilization, a wisdom kept in absolute secrecy for millennia that reveals the true nature of human decay. This secret wasn't written in paper books that rot with time, but encoded in the very physical structure of the human being, in the alignment of the bones and the conscious precision of each movement. This somatic wisdom is something that the modern mind, addicted to screens and speed, has completely lost the ability to access, leaving us vulnerable to time. The supreme guardian of this esoteric knowledge is Thoth, the Egyptian god represented with the head of an ibis, known as the divine scribe who recorded the hidden architecture of the entire universe. The oldest legends maintain that Thoth left a legacy for humanity that promised the true ability to transcend the destructive cycles of time and death, which leads us directly to the secret of reversing aging. The quest for eternal youth, which many consider vanity, is actually the instinctive search for this arcane wisdom that has been subtly preserved in the physical rituals of ancient cultures. Eastern traditions, and especially the more closed lineages of Zen and Japanese martial arts, have become the silent guardians of this ancient secret. They understood, long before modern science, that somatic discipline transforms the human body into a living archive of universal knowledge. You don't need to travel to Egypt to decipher hieroglyphs on the walls. You use the purity of physical form, the rigor of posture, and the control of movement to read the scroll of Thoth that exists within you, forcing your biology to vibrate in the same harmony as the cosmos. The master key that unifies all these scattered mysteries is the number 6, which esoterically carries the vibrational weight of harmony and perfect balance between opposing forces. In its subtle physiology, which Western medicine ignores, this number corresponds to the 6 main energy centers, the invisible pillars that govern both your physical vitality and your spiritual state. The 6 movements we will reveal in this series are not gymnastic exercises, but rather arcane portals specifically designed to force the realignment of these dormant power centers. What most people passively accept as inevitable aging is, for these wise individuals, merely a state of chronic stagnation and a catastrophic loss of the natural fluidity of life. This decay is brutally accelerated by the neurochemical imbalance caused by our modern routine of survival and constant fear. Cortisol, known as the stress hormone, is the true poison and biological catalyst of aging, as it systematically destroys the capacity for cellular regeneration, increases inflammation throughout the body, and corrodes the skin's protective barrier. True healing and the reversal of this process will not come from external treatments, but will begin from within, through the conscious imposition of calm over the chaos of your nervous system. The secret of Thoth provides us with the exact physical methodology to disarm the stress mechanism and stop the biological clock. However, before we reveal the first practical step, it is vital that you understand the root cause of our collective failure. Emotional instability and weakness of purpose originate from the loss of the fundamental foundation, without which no healing can stand. Ancient wisdom teaches us that aging is not merely the passing of years, but a progressive failure of fluidity, a rigidity that manifests itself in both muscles and soul. Taoism, with its profound observation of nature, teaches that physical rigidity is a direct and immediate reflection of mental attachment, harsh judgment, and resistance to the natural flow of events. This internal resistance transforms the body into a dense, heavy, and brittle vessel, robbing it of its original lightness and drastically accelerating the process of decay that we call old age. This stagnation is a formal invitation for time to consume us in an accelerated and merciless way. The frantic speed imposed by the modern world, constant financial uncertainty, and the uninterrupted bombardment of information keep your body trapped in a continuous cycle of alert and emergency. Your body, believing it is in mortal danger at every moment, constantly activates the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, flooding your bloodstream with toxic doses of cortisol. It is a subtle, invisible but constant process of self-destruction that depletes your youth day after day. The promise of reversal, contained in this hidden truth of Thoth, is not a magical illusion, but the scientific and spiritual return to the natural biological state of innate harmony. Your body, in its deepest essence, possesses unlimited regenerative power that has been silenced and suppressed by the chronic stress of modern life. Our goal here is not to introduce something foreign to your system, but rather to remove artificial barriers such as fear, haste, and anxiety that prevent your own inner wisdom from freely healing and repairing tissues. Eastern somatic practices, by demanding complete presence and absolute stillness in movement, act as a highly precise neural regulator that no pill can imitate. They intentionally and forcefully activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the biological switch responsible for deep rest, tissue repair, and cellular regeneration. It is the only key capable of compensating for the wear and tear of chronic stress that destroys youth and vitality. For this inner calm to become permanent and sustain the reversal process, the foundation of your being must be absolutely unshakable. It's useless to try to control cortisol and mental anxiety if you don't have a solid physical and psychological base to anchor this energy. Emotional imbalance, the feeling of being lost, and weakness of purpose all originate from a lack of grounding. The stability you seek in the external world must necessarily begin with the foundation of your inner world. That is precisely why the first key of Thoth, the first arcane portal that we will explore, is grounding, the physical and mental affirmation of your unwavering presence on Earth. But how does this esoteric and abstract idea transform into an exact movement? A secret of somatic precision that Japanese masters use to build a force that refuses to be moved by any adversity. It's time for you to discover the first practical technique that reverses collapse and gives you the ground you've lost. Key 1. The return to the center, the Japanese posture of immutability. Grounding, which we call Key 1, is not a passive meditation or mental visualization. It is a rigorous physical technique that creates the immovable foundation for your entire anti-aging process. It is the direct bodily manifestation of the stability of Geb, the Egyptian god of the earth, who symbolizes the solidity and foundation upon which everything is built. Without this physical stability at the center of your body, your energetic and psychological systems immediately succumb to any external pressure or stress, interrupting healing. The ancient tradition of Japanese martial arts, which codified the wisdom of Thoth in the form of the human body, encapsulated this esoteric power in a single powerful form. The Shikodachi, universally known as the horse stance. You need to deeply understand that the goal of this stance is not mobility or speed, but rather to generate immense power from a completely fixed and low center. It is your deliberate act of becoming an unbreakable point of stability in a chaotic world. By forcing the maintenance of your perfectly aligned base, with your legs firm and your spine erect, you are literally unifying your consciousness with your body, cementing the mind to matter. This intense physical discipline generates an unshakable feeling of inner security, which is the mandatory prerequisite for psychological stability and, consequently, for biological longevity. In this posture, the body sends a powerful chemical command to your brain, telling you that you are safe, that you are strong, and that the system can relax and heal. True longevity requires building a cohesive and unbreakable self, a core of iron will that can withstand the volatility and uncertainty of the fragmented identity that the modern age imposes on us. The horse pose forces the alignment of this axis of will, transforming the individual from a vulnerable being, carried by the winds of circumstance, into a solid mountain, a beacon of stability amidst the emotional storm of daily life. But this stability, however powerful it may be, is only the starting point of our regeneration journey. Your torso is now firm, your axis is aligned with the earth, but just below your center of gravity, the body holds a silent and dangerous weight. Old traumas and painful memories accumulate in the tissues of this region, stagnating the vital flow and preventing energy from ascending to nourish the mind and activate complete regeneration. This hidden stagnation is what prevents the complete reversal of aging. Even when you feel strong, the next movement, Key 2, will be a deep surgical release technique. It aims to break this blockage of past stagnation that pulls you back and prevents progress. The question that seals the mystery and leads us forward is, if your body is holding on to the past, where exactly does it hide these repressed emotions that steal your energy for the future? Key 2. The forgotten portal of Earth, where emotions get trapped. The forgotten portal of Earth, Key 2, guides us directly to the center of human emotions and mobility, the hip region. If you feel inertia in your life, a constant weight hindering your progress, or a chronic difficulty adapting to new situations, pay close attention to this area of your body. It functions as the great biological and energetic reservoir where stagnant vitality and emotional waste accumulate over the years. The stiffness we feel in our hips is actually a physical manifestation of the stiffness of the soul, a tangible blockage that imprisons not only the ability to move physically, but also all those repressed emotions you've avoided feeling, such as fear, resentment, and anger. This energy stagnation creates a barrier that prevents the free flow of qi, the vital energy essential for the health of the organs and for maintaining youthful integrity. Thoth's movement for this region is the release of flow, a specific and powerful technique. It's not a superficial gym stretch, but a technique aimed at deep remodeling and loosening of internal tissues. Ancient traditions, such as Taoism, utilize hip release movements, often poetically called the cat's tail, which work directly on the structure of the fascia, the tissue that connects everything in the body. Fasciae are now recognized by science as the biological reservoir of bodily memory, the place where physical and emotional trauma is recorded. By releasing this chronic hip stiffness, you are performing a powerful act of vitality that restores the original fluidity of your system, symbolically linked to the circulation of life and the regenerative wisdom that Thoth recorded as essential for the functioning of the inner temple. Breaking these blockages from the past is absolutely fundamental and non-negotiable for reversing aging. It clears the channel of vital flow, allowing energy, previously congested and decaying in the hips, to finally ascend and nourish the higher centers of thought, creativity, and regeneration. You are literally releasing the emotional weight of the past from the cells of your physical body. The body is now grounded in the earth, and the vital flow has been released from the prison of the hips. But there is still a silent enemy that consumes us every moment, more subtle and lethal than any bad food: the addictive, short, and superficial way we breathe. What good is releasing energy if the body continues to be poisoned, minute by minute, by a breath of anxiety and haste that signals constant danger? Key 3. The rhythm of the sacred breath. The command to turn off stress. Cosmic Rhythm Key 3 is the most immediate, accessible, and powerful discipline for imposing order and control on your internal system. Thoth, revered as the master of language and creation, taught that breath is the first and most important act of conscious magic, the physical manifestation of the sacred word acting within your body. The exact way you breathe is your control panel for your entire biology and mental state. The alchemical method that Thoth used to impose order on inner chaos and reverse cellular decay is diaphragmatic breathing. When practiced correctly, with the spine erect and the conscious and deep expansion of the abdominal region, it becomes a direct and undeniable command to your primitive brain, switching off the emergency state and activating a deep sense of security. It is your biological switch for instant calm and profound healing. This technique, which is available to everyone but mastered by very few, has the proven power to drastically reduce levels of the hormones cortisol and adrenaline that are prematurely aging your organs. It acts actively and purposefully, intentionally activating the parasympathetic nervous system, your biological center responsible for rest, tissue repair, and the regeneration of the entire system. You need to understand the vital magnitude of this. The parasympathetic nervous system is solely responsible for cellular regeneration, deep repair of tissues damaged by daily life, and optimizing the quality of your sleep. The modern rush and chronic stress biologically prevent this healing from happening. By regulating your breathing, you impose a healing time on your body, reversing accumulated damage. Mastering the rhythm of breath is, therefore, a direct and conscious engineering of human regeneration. You switch off the survival mode that consumes you and, with clear intention, allow the innate wisdom of repair to begin to manifest freely, undoing the damage caused by anxiety and time. Calmness is not a spiritual luxury for monks, it is the indispensable biological condition for youth and health. Your body is now firmly grounded, the flow of energy is released, and your mind is being nourished by the calm of the sacred breath. But true reversal, the kind that forges the immutability of your being in the face of time, requires you to sustain this peaceful state against the onslaught of haste and the temptation to give up. What happens when you are forced to maintain the effort against all your inner weaknesses and the desire to succumb to comfort? Key 4. The fire of silent sustenance, the forge of the unchanging self. Key 4 represents the ultimate trial by fire on your journey of reversal, the final exam that separates the curious from the true. Initiates in the art of Thoth. This stage is the manifestation of silent force, exercised through the rigorous discipline of sustained isometry, where movement ceases to give way to pure power. Biological aging, if you observe carefully, is essentially the victory of gravity over your structure, the progressive loss of the ability to sustain your own form against the weight of the world. This key is your physical declaration of war against entropy. The exact moment when you regain total control over your instinctive desires to falter, to succumb to comfort, and to surrender to the weariness that modern life imposes. To apply this, we use modern methods that mirror this ancestral wisdom, such as the wall squat, the static wall squat, or the locked abdominal plank position. These postures require you to maintain perfect body geometry under intense muscular tension for a period that tests the limits of your mental sanity. Don't be fooled into thinking this is just an exercise to tone muscles. It's a physical test of your spiritual persistence, a ritual where you transform brute, explosive force into a concentrated, silent, and absolutely unbreakable force that doesn't leak energy, but accumulates it. In Japanese esoteric tradition, this contained and pressurized force is the only path to the true development of the hara, the center of power and serenity located in the lower abdomen. They teach that by sustaining tension without moving, you transform your abdomen into a furnace that refuses to yield to the disorder of the universe. This sustained and immobile effort generates what alchemists called mystic heat, an internal vibration that begins to purify the being from within, burning away the impurities of fear and doubt and forging an immutable identity that resists decay and gravity. When you force your body to maintain its unwavering form under the tension of isometric exercises, you are waging a silent battle against the voice in your head that begs you to stop. This is the moment of truth where you reaffirm the complete dominance of your higher consciousness over volatile matter and the weaknesses of the lower mind. You are teaching your nervous system at a deep cellular level that it is not allowed to break down, that it will not succumb to structural collapse, and that aging due to lack of internal support is no longer an acceptable option for your biology. This practice creates an energy density that science is beginning to identify as an increase in neural integrity and communication between the brain and muscle. By denying the escape movement and remaining in the fire of tension, you signal to your DNA that survival depends on maintaining a youthful and upright structure. It is an epigenetic command of non-collapse that reverses the body's natural tendency to bend and shrink over the years. You literally become a supporting pillar that upholds the temple of your consciousness without trembling before life's storms. The discipline of will, forged in the silence of this motionless effort, ensures that its regeneration is not an accidental event, but a continuous state of power and magnetic presence. Silent strength is the antidote to fragility. It builds a body that not only appears strong, but possesses an internal coherence capable of processing stress loads that would destroy an ordinary person. Thoth taught that only a strong and stable vessel can contain the liquid of immortality without spilling or breaking, and it is precisely this vessel that you are building now with the sweat of your immobility. But here lies the great paradox of the Hermetic path, the secret that confuses beginners and separates masters. After building this relentless, hard and resilient force like a diamond, it is necessary to perform a contrary and necessary action, to release all the accumulated effort and fall into total and absolute silence. There is a final mystery that Thoth revealed about the power of stillness, something so profound and terrifying that modern science, with all its technology, is only now beginning to measure it in the laboratory. What happens when absolute force meets absolute peace? Key 5. The Guardian of Stillness, the revelation of terrifying healing power. Finally, we arrive at Key 5, the absolute pinnacle of our journey, and the exact location where the revelation of the terrifying healing power that Western medicine took centuries to accept resides. This is the mirror of water, the manifestation of active stillness that Thoth described as the state where death cannot find the body. Modern science, with all its brain scanners, is only beginning to scratch the surface of the profound mechanism of this key, which has been preserved with military rigor in Japanese practices such as Zazen and the Caesar posture. Don't be fooled into thinking this is just relaxation. It's an advanced survival technique that reverses the polarity of your biology, transforming the body from a battlefield into an impenetrable healing sanctuary. These ancestral postures are not passive forms of rest or empty religious rituals. They are, in fact, high-precision neural technologies designed to cultivate a rare state called neural quietus. In this state, the body remains completely still as a rock, but the mind is hyper-alert, monitoring every internal micro-signal without reacting to them with tension. This paradox of external immobility and extreme internal vigilance is the true catalyst that Thoth taught the initiates to deceive time. It is here that you learn to stop the deafening noise of the world and listen for the first time to the sound of your own regeneration happening in real time, a process that mental noise has always muffled. The terrifying power of this stillness lies in its biological ability to hack the autonomic nervous system and manually deactivate the aging stress response. By entering this tactical silence, you cut off the fuel supply to aging. The continuous production of cortisol and adrenaline is instantly reset. The body, which previously spent 80% of its energy just defending itself against imaginary threats and anxieties about the future, suddenly finds itself free of this crushing burden. It's like turning off a fire alarm that's been ringing loudly for decades, allowing the internal firefighters to finally stop running in circles and start rebuilding the structure of the burning house. What happens in the minutes following this stillness is a biological shift bordering on a medical miracle. The body massively redirects all energy resources previously wasted on muscle tension towards deep cellular regeneration. The mitochondria, the power plants of your cells, receive the chemical order to repair damaged tissues, synthesize collagen, and eliminate toxins accumulated in vital organs. You are no longer fighting against the outside world. You are, through a conscious act of will, granting total and unrestricted permission for your body's innate wisdom of repair to operate at its maximum capacity without the interference of your fearful ego. This profound stillness is what the ancient Egyptian masters called the vision of Horus, the all-seeing eye, representing the correction of perception that interrupts the cycle of self-destruction. When the mirror of your mind becomes smooth and without ripples like a peaceful lake, the emotional imbalance that caused the inflammation disappears at its root, for there is no longer turbulence to feed it. The will has been forged in the fire of isometry, and now the vital flow circulates without barriers through an unimpeded system. The reversal of aging at this precise point in the practice ceases to be a philosophical theory and becomes a fully functioning, palpable, and measurable physiological process. Now that you have mastered the art of stopping time internally, the final step in this journey requires you to use all this accumulated power of support and serenity for a final and definitive task. You must navigate the subtle and energetic architecture that connects the cosmic mind of Thoth to the biology of your physical body, to align the invisible centers that govern your life. You have built the foundation, the walls, and the roof, but you need to connect the electricity that will make everything work in unison. What is this final and secret dance that seals integrity, unites all the fragments of your being, and definitively restores complete youth? With the guardian of stillness of Key 5 now firmly established in your consciousness, the next critical phase is to integrate this absolute serenity into your daily life. The esoteric application of the sustained isometry of Key 4 transcends static gym exercises. It transforms into the sustaining of presence in motion, a calm and unbreakable force that accompanies you amidst the flow and rush of everyday life. True longevity lies not merely in sitting in silence, but in mastering slower, more conscious movements, such as those practiced in deep forms of Tai Chi or internal martial arts. It is in these movements that the sustained effort of isometry is applied in each transition, generating an immutability of being and an inner consistency, even when the world around is chaotic and unpredictable. Slow and deliberate movement is faith embodied in its practice. Your consciousness is forced to inhabit the present moment in every muscle fiber and every joint, maintaining absolute serenity under the tension of movement and action. This is the perfect and alchemical union of the mental discipline of stillness with the bodily discipline of sustaining, creating a complete and integrated path that ensures that regeneration is not an isolated meditation event, but rather a continuous state of vitality. This integration dramatically improves your biological response to life making it infinitely more efficient and less costly for the organism. By treating the body with mindfulness and conscious love in every movement it makes, your system becomes inherently more resilient, more adaptable, and much less subject to entropy and premature aging. You take full control of how the world affects you. The structure of your body and your will has been perfected and shielded with the 5 previous keys. You have the solid foundation, the free flow, the calm breath, the sustained strength, and the profound stillness. But the map of Thoth has a final command, a sacred dance that seals the integrity of the being, uniting all the arcane portals into a single point of power and harmony. This is the final and necessary preparation for the act of cosmic realignment. The map is ready for Key 6, the supreme ability to use the mind to dictate the harmony of matter, activating the invisible centers of power for the total and definitive healing of your being. The final arcane portal, Key 6, is unification, known as the dance of the 6 energy centers. The number 6, which carries the vibrational signature of esoteric harmony, is the master frequency for accessing the body's subtle energy system, where the 6 centers, which many cultures call chakras, govern the endocrine glands and the deepest, most essential physiological functions for life. Having disciplined and aligned the body with stability, flow, breath, strength, and stillness in the previous steps, you are now truly prepared for advanced concentration meditation. This is not a time for passive relaxation or daydreaming, but the practical, focused, and intentional use of Thoth's wisdom to direct chi and mental focus toward the complete and conscious realignment of these power centers. The dance of the 6 centers is the act of cosmic realignment, the culminating point where your mind, finally calm and strong, dictates the perfect harmony of matter, consciously activating the fullness of your being. It is the moment of harvesting all your physical and mental efforts, restoring total balance in all areas of life, and allowing the body to function as it was originally designed. The so-called magical healing, or the frightening healing power mentioned by the ancients, is in fact the conscious, intelligent, and unimpeded channeling of vital energy for regeneration. By unifying these power centers, you are allowing the life force to flow without the barriers and blockages that caused stagnation and aging. Your body becomes a perfect circuit of light and energy. The map of Thoth is now complete in your hands. Your body has become a perfectly tuned instrument, and your energy is unified in a single purpose. The ultimate truth about the power of reversal lies in how this newfound integrity radically transforms your perception of time and how you will live from tomorrow onward, free from the rush and fear of death. This inner transformation is the guarantee that reversal is not a distant destination or an empty promise, but a permanent state of being that you consciously activate each day. It is the union of all discipline into a single point of power, the vibrational signature of restored biological and spiritual youth. The reversal of aging, now sealed and guaranteed by these 6 keys of Thoth, transcends any superficial goal of beauty or aesthetic vanity. It is the complete, profound, and undeniable restoration of your biological and spiritual integrity. This manifests itself in a real way When you unite the ancestral wisdom of Japanese and Egyptian movements with the evidence of modern science on cortisol control and the deep activation of the parasympathetic system, the 6 movements acted as a systematic clearing methodology, actively removing the internal barriers that were destroying you, the rigidity of old traumas, the poison of chronic stress and constant emotional imbalance. By removing these blockages, you allowed your temple body to return to its original and divine design pattern, the state of youth, health, and maximum vitality. The power of healing, which at the beginning of this journey seemed something frightening, mystical, and unattainable, reveals itself to be the human capacity to transcend the linear and destructive perception of time, restoring the inner balance that modern life tries to break at all costs. You become a point of stability and immutability, resistant to external disorder, chaos, and decay. Longevity becomes a natural manifestation of your discipline. The individual who masters the discipline of the 6 elements discovers the deepest truth of all. The harmony and balance they desperately sought outside themselves were not something to be conquered, bought, or earned. They were always within, merely obscured by the resistances, fears, and agitations of life. This somatic and spiritual clarity is the true and only secret to longevity. By utilizing the parasympathetic nervous system and controlling cortisol as direct and conscious mechanisms for repair and longevity, you become the living and active repository of Thoth's wisdom. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances or genetics, but in conscious control of your biology, your time, and your vital energy. Longevity and the reversal of aging become the natural and inevitable consequence of a life that is in deep harmony with the universe and at peace with itself. Your body, free from the poison of chronic stress, regenerates itself in continuous repair mode, and this clarity of mind and spirit is the final and definitive proof that reversal is possible for you here and now. If you've made it this far, it means you're ready to activate the wisdom of Thoth in your life. Leave the phrase "I choose balance" in the comments so we can seal this knowledge. If you feel this content has profound value and you want to help spread more secrets like this, there's a way to contribute more directly to the channel's growth. You'll find the contribution link in the first pinned comment. Your help of any amount is very important to me and to the continuation of this channel and its ability to produce more knowledge. But know that just the fact that you watched until the end is already a huge support. You can also help a lot simply by sharing this video with someone who needs to reverse the aging process. And now the most important part. I've prepared a special video for you so you don't leave yet. This is your next step on this journey. Click on the video that's currently appearing on the screen so we can meet there and continue your awakening.